Welcome, everyone, to Music Junkies, a podcast about people sharing extraordinary stories about how music has impacted their lives.
Welcome, everyone, to Music Junkies. I'm your host, Annette Smith, and our guest today is a stand-up comedian based in Toronto, Ontario. He has an amazing album called Sexual Cactus that I absolutely love, but if you haven't heard it yet, you can hear it on Sirius XM radio. He performs at Yuck Yucks comedy clubs across Canada, and please welcome David Burke to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Yay! I'm so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about these exciting memories I have attached to, and embarrassing memories I have attached to these songs.
I love it. So before we get started, I always ask, what was your experience putting your playlist together for me today?
It was fun putting it together. I mean, it's tough. It's like when people ask you like, "Oh, what's your favorite song?" or what kind of music do you like? And then it's like, "Oh, I like everything as long as it's good." Like that super generic answer. Yeah. But it's kind of like my taste is extremely all over the place, and it's kind of a hard question to answer. And if someone's like, name 10 of your top songs, it's hard to think through. But this was a fun, different kind of thing, different kind of question, because it's like 10 songs that you have stories about or memories about. And it's kind of fun to think about all those cringy teenage years and those memories and just other kind of things too. So it was fun to put it together.
Good, I'm glad. It's so, and I don't know what it is, maybe I need a psychologist on this show or something. I find that most people's playlists, probably like, unless they're promoting their own music, most people's playlist is like that grade 4 to like grade 12. It's so crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, those are still the songs that hit the hardest when you listen back to them again. Even if it's like cringy, Smash Mouth, but I'm actually kind of nodding my head to this and being like, yeah, this song actually rocks a little bit. Like, it's not cool, but...
I know, it's so interesting. Maybe I'll have a psychiatrist on here next time and she'll
that
be
would
like,
be very interesting.
and this is why, and then we'll all learn.
I feel like it's a nostalgia factor. It's like,
It's like where we were made.
Nostalgia, yeah.
All right, we're going to start with your first song. I was listening to your playlist this morning, and you're right. You were like all over the place, and I love it. I love it. So here's your first song. If we want to play it, like what is happening here? 1 second. It's because I was jamming out to it this morning. I couldn't.
There's some hits there. There's some good ones.
That's right. I love it. Let's see if you got it working here. I guess you can't just have it all open on all devices, apparently.
No. There's a button you can hit to change device if you have Spotify open.
Yeah, and I just did that. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's see if I can...
Baby.
Hey, buddy, Quincy Jones. I've never had it. Okay, I've never had it.
Starting off very strong.
Yeah.
This is probably maybe the most embarrassing story on the list too. So maybe I should have put it further down the list. But it's the story behind this song is I matched with a lady on a dating app. We had a lovely date that ended us in us making love at the end of the date, and I thought it was like awesome, like great date, like this is gonna happen again, like this is an item now, like we have a thing going on.
Oh no, you're frozen. Oh no. I
froze for you. Okay, we're back.
Let's try it again.
Where I was, or should I start
Let's
from
just
the beginning? I don't know where.
We'll start from the beginning. Here, I'll
Okay.
play this. Let's play your first song.
Okay.
But temperature's rising, and it's not surprising. But when you close,
I feel like you're seducing me. Your first song is like Body Heat by Krissie.
I had to start off very sensually. But this is not, the recording got frozen there, so now I have to relive this memory twice. I don't know if that was intentional on your part, but I had a date with a lady that I met on like a dating app, and the date went beautifully. Like we went out and got some food and a drink, and then we, hooked up at the end of it, and it was very nice. And so we had a second date, and I thought this is going to be great. Like the first one went so well. And she lived in my neighborhood, so we like went for like a little short walk, and I was like, do you want to come back to my place and hang out? And she was like, yeah, okay. And she came in, and she went to the bathroom, and then while she was in the bathroom, I went to my computer and popped on Body Heat, because I recently discovered this album, and I was like, this album's awesome, and I thought it would be a good. But she came into the room, she was like, what is this porn music? What do you think is going to happen? And I was like, I don't know, I thought it. And she was like, look, I wanted to hang out today to tell you, look, I like you, but I don't think we can. I was like, no. I thought this was going the opposite direction, but she just wanted to, in person, kind of let me down. Be like, look, it was a fun night, but I don't think we should do it again. So I had to pause Quincy Jones and be like, what? Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's...
How are those dating apps? Like, are you enjoying them?
I'm thankful to be off of the apps for almost a year now. I've got a lovely girlfriend. But
Did
this
you?
was in my old days? I mean, it's they're not great. It's kind of a demoralizing experience swiping on 1,000 people and talking to 4 of them. But I don't know. It seems like meeting people at a bar is for a while there in like the 2010s was not as popular as dating apps. Dating apps really had I think things are reverting back to the more real life now.
Yeah, because it's, well, I haven't been on a date. Like I've been married for 23 years. So like for me, it's like, I don't even know what, but our kids were, right? Like my son he's married now, but my daughter, it's like crazy. I don't understand the concept. It's so superficial. Like, why would, she's been with this guy for 6 weeks, and I'm saying, she's like, I just want to know. And I'm like, well, fucking ask him. It's been 6 weeks. Like, if he's banging other people, I would want it. I'm aggressive enough. I'd be like, look, we've had sex. Like, I'm not planning on doing it with a whole bunch of dudes. So if you, that's just not me. So I
would have that conversation way before 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
like it's not
also
weird.
I'm putting Body Heat on the second date, so maybe I move things along faster than they should be.
Yeah, if you're like sitting there ready to propose with Body Heat on, she might be like, "What is
superficial
happening?"
Though, like you said, it's very shallow. Like you're making I guess real life is like that too, but less so. If you're at a bar, at least you can tell a joke or something before they walk away.
That's right.
Yeah.
Did you have like a folder on your phone of just like really cool dick pics that you sent out, or?
No, I don't. I'm not a big dick pic sender. I've never really done that before. I don't know why. I'm afraid of it being like documented, and then someday I hopefully
you're just Google your
name
name
shows
and
up on Google. Yeah, I mean, I want my stand-up comedy to show up, not my dick.
That's right. Oh my goodness. I love this song, your next song here. Red Hot Chili Peppers, can't go wrong.
Yeah. Great song.
Great song.
I loved the Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was a younger man. This is one of those ones. I guess I played bass and bass guitar, and it was like really boring playing along with AC/DC. Like the I loved AC/DC so much. My friends played guitar too, so I got a bass guitar so I could play along. But that was like 2 notes. You know, it's like
For 14 hours.
It's like, really? So then I got into the Chili Peppers because this was of the time, and Flea is sick. Like, he's a really cool bassist. Through watching like this Flea instructional bass video, he talked about slapping and popping the bass, which was my introduction to funk, and Larry Graham, I think that's his name, and the P-Funk All-Stars, and you know, the origins of slap bass and how it was like a percussive thing using the slapping of the thumb on the bass. And I just thought it was super cool, and it was also more difficult to play, and so it was like satisfying to me, you know, instead of just playing the same thing with a pick, the AC/DC songs, I could actually, you know, learn to slap and stuff, and it kind of got me into jazz a little bit and funk, and yeah, it was great. So I loved the Chili Peppers, and Californication was a great album that I learned to play all those songs on bass through reading tabs online. And for Christmas, I asked Santa or my parents or whoever for a tab book, bass tab book for Californication. And I was, I guess, 18 years old or 17 years old, like old enough for sure to be consuming the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But are you frozen again? Or no?
No, I'm a good listener.
You are a good listener. You're so engaged there. I was like, I'm twiddling my hair or something. Yeah. But I asked for this tab book, and then my mother came to me and she was like, look, I bought the tab book, but your father doesn't want to give it to you because he doesn't think it's appropriate. And I was like, what about it? And she was like, well, the name California has fornication in the name. And I was like, I'm 18 years old. Like, I should be allowed. And she was like, no. And she was like, and we looked through the lyrics, and there's a couple swear words too. And my parents were super overprotective, and they're not big fans of stand-up comedy either. I'll tell you that. But maybe that's why I ended up being a comedian. But yeah, she was like, look, we can't. So the compromise was that she took whiteout and used whiteout to censor out all the swear words in the California. I was like 18 years old, and that's, I think, the moment where I was like, I'm moving out as soon as possible. Yeah.
I'm getting a job today.
Yeah,
I think that might be a good idea.
I had a job, but it was immediately priorities shifted to like, I gotta get out of here. So.
What was your worst job you ever had?
Ooh, probably Pizza Hut, I would say. Although it was a good learning experience. It was my first job. But it was just like, they weren't very nice to us sometimes. Like, I remember the Super Bowl. I had to work for the Super Bowl, and it was the craziest day ever. It was, you know, it's very, very busy. Early 2000s when Pizza Hut was still a huge thing, before Uber
Big deal.
and stuff. And I remember I went to use the bathroom, and someone yelled at me for like, you can't go to the bathroom but during this rush. And I was like, I had to pee. I don't know what you want me to do. But thankfully I've got have had better jobs since then. But that was a tough job for sure. Good first job to instill that work ethic, though. I remember standing around waiting for the next pizza order. My manager goes, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, there's no orders right now. She goes, well, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. So you always have to have a rag in your hand, at least, to pretend that you're doing something.
Especially in a place like that. Did you find that you smelled like pizza all the time?
Oh, I smelled so much like the Italian sausage and the onions and stuff.
Yeah.
Would be like in my hands. Yeah, you'd wash your hands and under your nails as much as you could, but there was no undoing that onion and Italian sausage smell. I remember my parents would pick me up and be like, you smell so much like Italian sausage. Wrong one.
Did you gain lots of weight from working there, just eating pizza constantly?
No, that was when I was of the age where I could eat whatever I wanted to and feel no effects.
Yeah, I miss those ages.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complete mess now. I don't know.
I used to put sour cream literally on everything. Like, I was like, sour cream is free. I am just going to have it literally on everything. And then, 30 years later, I'm like, oh, I do really still like sour cream, but maybe I won't have it on my corn on the cob because I'll just have the butter, not the sour cream.
Well, the word cream is in it. I mean, the sour part, I don't know if that reduces a lot of the calories. But if you're putting cream on everything, people would ask questions.
That's right. All right. Okay, this one shocked me, I have to say. I have not heard this band in a long, long time. Probably since I was in high school. Slayer. Right.
Yeah.
Just like, they just came recently. They came with Anthrax and I was going to go, but it was at like a Deerfoot Inn casino. So it's like a 3,000
that would be
venue. And I think it would have been cool, but I just really don't want to slam dance. And then they have chairs there too. So it's like, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, Slayer, I saw them live. They seem like they tour a bunch for an old band.
Yeah.
I saw them in Halifax, where I'm from. I don't know what year it would have been. Late 90s, early 2000s, I guess. But it was a cool concert, and it was like the first concert where I was with friends that were like, let's go up to the front and get right in that slam pit area. And before the show started, there was like some shoving going on because people were fighting over who was in the very front row. And this guy was like arguing with someone else, and he went to punch him and threw a haymaker, and this guy ducked it, and I was the person behind, and I just got completely wiped out by this punch, just knocked down to the ground. And then a bunch of people grabbed the guy and then like dragged him out. Not security, but like other metal fans. But awesome way to start a Slayer concert. And then they started playing like a minute later. I was like, oh man, okay, I can handle this almost.
Let's wipe this blood off. I'm fine. Let's go.
Yeah. But this song is cool too because it's a Minor Threat cover. And I love Minor Threat. Very, important hardcore band. Also Damage Plan opened for Slayer during this concert, and Damage Plan was a band that Dimebag Darrell of Pantera, the guitarist for Pantera, played for before he was shot. So I saw him a few years before he got shot. So.
I loved Pantera growing up. What kind of music did you listen to growing up in high school? Was it really, really heavy stuff like Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I loved all those bands. Metallica was super sick. I remember when Metallica got sober and they went on MTV or whatever it was, and they did that interview, and I was like, what's going on with these guys?
When did Lawrence become such a pussy?
Yeah.
Like that documentary, I'm like, oh my God, stop fucking whining, dude. Like, what are you whining about? Every 2 seconds you're whining.
And the whole Napster thing, too.
Yeah, it's a lot. Get over it.
And that was around the time I was using Napster to download a lot of this stuff when I was in junior high and high school. And it was.
We don't have any money. We don't have $17 to buy an album every.
And it's funny because that was really, think about how people consume music now. What a losing battle that was to be like, you can't listen to our music without paying us for each listen. I was like, okay, well,
we'll go somewhere else.
The industry's completely gone that way of
that's right. And we were doing it anyways. We just mixed you a tape and then gave you the mixtape for you, like how many times, like I know for me, if we bought a tape, we would just record it and like we were doing mixtapes all the time. So we're already indirectly doing it.
Yeah.
And that was okay. So I get it on both sides, but hey man, when Columbia Records went out of business, how are we getting free music? Okay, we have to pay for this. We either have to pay for it or steal it. And you probably
I mean, if anything, you could argue more that for small artists, it hurts small artists. I don't think Metallica was that they're just being kind of greedy. I get I have a perspective as a comedian. I don't think I've ever been paid by Spotify, and I know my album is on there and people listen to it on Spotify. So Spotify is one of the worst in terms of plays to pay. But it's just, you got to get your stuff out there nowadays. There's so much content that exposure is,
that's right.
Get paid a lot of time. But
So is there any topics that you stay away from when you are
as a comedian,
Yeah. Like I know I just went and seen Whitney Cummings the other day, and she was hilarious. Like she was super funny, and I appreciate her because she just talks about anything, but she kind of like opened up like that, and she was like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna talk about transgender, whatever, let's do it, let's just get it out of the way. And I just kind of appreciated that, because it's like we're in this safe, how I think of when we see comedians, for me, it's like we're in this safe space that we can laugh about the stuff that they're saying, but we do feel it and we do think it, but we want to say it, but we don't want to get our tires slashed after the show.
Yeah, no.
You know?
Yeah, I don't have any kind of limits as to what I talk about. I think it's just if it's funny, if you can think of a funny thing. I'm not one of those comedians that wants to be like a modern day philosopher too. I think there's a lot of those guys that are influenced maybe by great comedians like Bill Hicks or like Patrice O'Neill, that are these like prophetic voices almost, and could talk about these social issues. But when I see new comedians that are like a year in, they jump straight to taking on religion, you know, trans rights, everything. It's like, well, okay, maybe build up the skill level a bit before you take a swing at the heavier things. And Whitney Cummings is someone who's been doing comedy for a long time, and I'm sure it was all of her observations about it were funny. Like,
yeah, they're hilarious.
If it's funny, then just let her rip. Like,
yeah,
it's I don't know. I think comedians are so in tune with like, is that joke transphobic or is that racist or is this, and you know, comedians will say that at the back of the room, like, oh, that was a new joke, and yeah, it's good. You don't think that's like racist or any, and then, because people are always thinking like, I wonder if someone will stand up and yell that, but you go, no, it's not. It's a joke about this. It's a joke about, you know. Anyways, I don't think there's any limit. I just try to be considerate, and it's also just easier to get along and do shows. If you can take the extreme edgy route, but people are gonna heckle and yell stuff, and I just don't want the confrontation as much. If there's something really funny though, I'll do it, and if people groan about it, then I kind of chuckle to myself that they're groaning. And
like I would love to see like Richard Pryor now, or Robin Williams now, or even like Dennis Leary right now with after COVID and all the crazy shit that's going on right now. Like I would love to go see those shows and just have them, Lisa Lampanelli or whatever, just have them like totally have their way for 2 hours.
That would be like George Carlin. Imagine COVID and
exactly.
You know. Yeah. But there's still a lot of great comedians now that we can, you know, Doug Stanhope, Louis C.K.
Yeah. Who are some of your comedians that you look up to or maybe have admired growing up, getting into this profession?
Who did I look up to? Like, I loved Dave Chappelle when I was younger. I loved Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, like a lot of these black comics I just loved so much. And yeah, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, all the big names too. I love John Panette. I think he's a great joke writer. But then since I've been doing comedy, I think a lot of my favorites are just comics that I work with.
Yeah.
And you know, if I'm thinking of like famous American comedians, I love Bill Burr and Louis C.K. But there's so many really funny Canadian comics that are just great.
Yeah, it's nice to see, actually.
Yeah, it's really nice. There's so many. You know, I could list a billion names. I don't know if you would know a lot of them, but you know, Tyler Morrison, Jarrett Campbell, Rob Pugh, Mike Wilmot. Yeah, just guys that I work with, Chuck Byrne, Martha Chavez, a lot of very funny Canadian comics.
I love it.
That's the homework for the audience today. Go find a Canadian comedian that you don't know.
Canadian comedian. So this next song, I don't know if I have it right because it's very quick and there's not a lot to it. So if I got it wrong, I apologize. It's got to kick in, apparently. Takes a while.
Oh yeah, this one builds up. It's a builder.
Can definitely tell it's a Pink Floyd song.
Sorry?
I said you can definitely tell it's a Pink Floyd song.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Speak to Me. So there's like this massive 14-hour build-up in case the audience didn't see that.
Yeah. Maybe not the best song for.
No, I love it. I love it though.
Yeah. I mean, you can guess this one. This is the. It's like post-move out. First apartment. Living alone, rebellious stage. Took mushrooms for the first time.
No.
And my roommate, who was like had done mushrooms a bunch, kind of was like a trip sitter for me, and was like, "Dude, have you ever listened to Pink Floyd?" And I was like, "No." And so he put on this album. Yeah, and it was sick. This song builds up, and it was The Dark Side of the Moon was the album, and this is the opening song, Speak to Me. It builds up, and then there's that big scream that bursts into the guitar and drums, and when you're high on mushrooms for the first time, it's pretty cool. It is a pretty cool experience.
So tell me a little bit about your mushroom trip. Where'd you go? How many people did you see?
It was just me and him in the our living room. I didn't really like see any like crazy hallucinations. Telling like a trip story is always like telling a dream. Someone's like, yeah, and then I was like floating. It's like it's hard to. It's like okay, I guess sure, man. None of it happened. We all know it was just in your mind, so I don't know how interesting it is. But we had like a poster of the Doors, where they're standing like next to an airplane, and I kept looking at Jim Morrison's face, and it was all warping around and stuff. It was cool. It was a classic. What a stereotype, really. Just two 19-year-old guys with a poster of the Doors, Jimi Hendrix poster, smoking a bunch of weed in the apartment. That was a fun first apartment. That was when I moved from Pizza Hut to Staples. I was working at Staples at that time.
Yeah,
so
you were upgrading.
Yep.
No more smelling like pizza, which is probably a good thing.
No. Moved on to smelling like weed and office supplies.
What were you like growing up in high school?
I was always like a really good student, and I think by high school I was just bored with school.
Yeah.
So I was just cutting class a lot and reading Friedrich Nietzsche and thinking I was like super deep and philosophical, and I didn't smoke weed at that time. I didn't start till after high school, but so I wasn't like a stoner teen in high school.
Yeah.
After high school, I tried joining the army actually, and I got rejected because of my eyesight.
Oh, really?
I've had laser eye surgery since then, but I've had really bad eyes my whole life, and my eyesight was so bad that I got rejected.
That's interesting. What kind of girls did you date in high school?
None.
No girlfriends in high school.
No.
Wow.
No, that didn't happen until I was like 19. That was when I had that sweet Staples money to flash around. But, no, I was a late bloomer for sure.
A late bloomer, and then so was it a serious girlfriend that you lost your virginity to?
No, not really. I guess we were exclusive.
Guys, right? It's like any girl that will take me. I need to get this done.
Yeah, I mean, she was cool, but no, I don't think I had my first real relationship until I was probably 20 or 21.
Oh, wow.
That was like my first real girlfriend. But yeah, I mean, slow on the uptake there. I was always like a super nerdy kid with glasses and not very confident, and among my friends that I knew well, I was always funny and outgoing. But with new people, I'm always pretty quiet. Even still, I'm always kind of quiet at first.
I find a lot of comedians are kind of like that. Like it's either or. It's like the abrasive or like super introverted. Like it's so strange.
Yeah. I find when it's appropriate for me to be on, then I can do that. Like if I'm on stage or doing a podcast or something. But if I'm at a party, I don't need to be the one like, hey everybody, look at this. Like I'm just the quiet one in the corner at the party because it's let the social butterflies do their thing.
That's right.
But if they say up next Dave Burke, then it's when I will
perform. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Great. All right. I love this next song. Nobody's had it on their playlist yet, which I'm surprised. Take It Easy, the Eagles.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, so good.
What's your memory or your story that's attached to that song?
Arizona. Karaoke. I'm not a karaoke guy, and I was, I guess, like a year and a half ago, a couple of years, had a breakup that like really bummed me out, and I was performing at the Yucks in Niagara Falls, like the weekend of the breakup. I think we broke up on like a Thursday, and then Friday I was in Niagara Falls, and there's a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville in Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
That we always go to after a show at the Yucks there, because it's kind of between the hotel and the Yucks. Just because it's a sight to see. I don't know if you've ever been inside of a Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, but it's like they have a giant margarita like blender, like giant like 20-foot tall blender that's like mixing this big fake green margarita mix, and there's fake palm trees and stuff everywhere, and it's this tropical vibe. And there's been more than one occasion where I've been really dejected, super depressed, like doing a crappy show at the Niagara Falls Yucks, and then you end up at the Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. And it's a great contrast if you're feeling crappy to have this artificial Margaritaville environment to be in, or if you're in a good mood too. It's just always, it's funny either way to be there. And so this was like post breakup. I was like super bummed. I don't know if I had a bad set or a good set, but I was still just feeling depressed and stuff. And Eric Andrews was with me, and we went to, and James Cummins, and we went to Jimmy Buffett's. And I've only done karaoke twice in my life. The first time was like I was forced to do it in Halifax, and I did Going the Distance by Cake. Which was, I guess that's one of the songs on my list too, so we can talk about that experience as well. But the second time was this one, Take It Easy. And I just liked it because it was, it seemed like the chorus is a nice message, you know, take it easy.
Yeah.
Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy. I don't know, for some reason I was relating to it. I don't know if it's necessarily
it's true though. It's very true lyric. Right?
Yeah.
We're the ones that
like
drive
rebound
ourselves.
song.
Yeah.
It's a song about rebounding. It's like you're on the corner and some hot chick in a pickup truck like waves at you, and you're like, I'm back. Let's go.
Let's go. I've been out for 3 hours. Now I'm back.
Yeah. So the funny thing about this one was I did the first verse and the chorus, and then I put the mic back in the stand and started to walk off, and the DJ goes, there's a lot left. I had to go back and pull the mic out of the stand, but Eric and I still joke about that. There's actually a lot left.
There's a good 4 minutes left there.
Yeah.
Dave, you're gonna have to come back here.
It's a good metaphor for life. When you think you're putting the mic up on the stand,
Giving
he
up.
says there's actually 2 verses left, so get back up there.
So are you a big strip club guy? Were you a big strip club guy? Go to the strip club a lot?
Never been to a strip club.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Never been. Not.
Nobody tried to drag you out there. Come on, man. Let's go drop some dollars.
Well, I guess that would have happened in Halifax if they had one in Dartmouth when I was younger called Ralph's Place.
Oh, awful name for a strip club.
It's an unfortunate name, but it's been closed, and they don't have a strip club in Halifax. I think it was open still when
I was just in Halifax in July.
Age. Yes?
Yeah, my first time. Did a little tour.
Oh, nice.
Went to Cape Breton, PEI, Moncton, Halifax, Peggy's Cove, Lurna's. Yeah, it was amazing. We spent just about 2 weeks there. It was incredible.
Did you have good weather?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because it was like we were chasing the sun, but not chasing, like, it's very foggy there in the morning. Like, I'm originally from BC, so I was really excited to go there and see that ocean. Like, I was like, I can't wait. And then obviously eat all the seafood because I love seafood being from the island.
Oh, so good.
Right. Yeah. So every morning, super cloudy by 12 o'clock, like sun kind of coming, but very humid. I found it I felt like it wasn't what I expected. I didn't expect that many trees and that lush. I did not expect that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I expected more of how PEI is, like kind of the rolling hills and like potato farmland kind of thing. So I was like, this is amazing. We my husband and I like took over that boardwalk. Like when we got into Halifax, we dropped our bags because we've been driving for like 8 hours, and we hit that boardwalk pretty hard. We hit like 9 different restaurants and like
Nice.
appetizers and drinks, and we stayed at the Ward, and we needed the GPS to take us like to the hotel because we had no idea, like we were annihilated, and we were like 5 minutes from the hotel. And we're like, we're just gonna use GPS to walk us back to the Ward. Oh,
That's awesome.
I love Halifax. It was lots of fun. Like that
So
whole
nice.
area is beautiful.
Yeah, so nice. Like Canada's a big, beautiful country. It's cool that with comedy I've been able to go from Newfoundland to Vancouver now. And yeah, it's really a beautiful. That's the next piece of homework for the listeners. Go to Nova Scotia for vacation.
That's right.
Tourism Nova Scotia pays me to say that. That's, they need it. I think a lot
We
of
heard a little-
companies really rely on that summer.
Cha-ching. We just heard this little cha-ching.
Yeah, I get a free lobster now when I go home.
Free lobster roll. That's right. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
My
next
uncle was a
up.
lobster fisherman,
Oh,
actually.
no way.
That's how authentic I am as a Nova Scotian. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember going out on the boat as a kid. Not fun when you're a kid. It's like, okay, we're getting up at 4:30 in the morning, kids. Get to see what it's like on the boat. I don't want to.
Yeah, my
No
grandparents
song for that, sadly.
owned a fishing resort my whole entire life when I lived in BC. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah. So
Cool.
it was really cool to go fishing all the time and all of that stuff. I got to do that every single summer, and
Oh, that's
I
amazing.
really, really miss that. Like being in Calgary and missing the water. Like you must, well, you have the Great Lakes. We have piss-made, man-made lakes. Like some bunch of dudes just pissed on the side of the road, and that's our man-made lake.
Is there any fishing in
There
Alberta?
is. There's
you go
lots
north,
of
I
fishing.
guess?
No, like it's just
everywhere?
like pickerel, or like it's
Yeah.
not like you're not. I wouldn't eat it. Like I wouldn't be like, oh my god, I can't wait to take this home to my family with the blue-green algae on it. Like it's so delicious. I don't think I would have any of that. It's very. I don't know. For me, when I moved here, it was so hard. First of all, I couldn't drink the water when I first moved to Calgary. I was like, what the hell is this? This is so gross. And I took my kids to like a lake, and I'm like, we're not going in there. There's probably fucking dead bodies. We are not, kids, you're not going in the lake, right? It was, and we left.
Oh, man.
There's no good lakes, you know.
No.
I don't think, like, maybe I'm wrong. I haven't been all over Alberta, but around Calgary, there's, we built a property on like a man-made lake, but we can't even have.
Yeah, if you can't swim in it or fish in it, then it's what good is it?
That's right.
That's something I've gotten into over the last few years is fishing. I did it as a kid, but never as an adult. But over the last 5 years, I guess I have 3 fishing rods now, and I took my girlfriend out. So
I love it. I love fishing. It's my favorite.
It's
All right.
awesome.
Next song.
Well, so we meet again. He said he'd grown spiritually since the last time. Okay, this is the dawning of the book of bitter aspects.
All right, now we're getting some gangster rap here.
Now we're
Big
into
gang.
well, this is like underground hip hop. So this is not gangster at all. The next one's a bit more gangster. This is the first hip hop song, I guess, on the list. But I do love hip hop and listened to a ton of it in high school. And this probably was like the guy that I listened to the most in high school. Aesop Rock. Very much not a mainstream kind of guy. It's like this intellectual rap, which I can't listen to now. We talked earlier about how some of this stuff being nostalgic, and you listen back to it and you're like, yeah. But this is like, it's very hard for me to revisit this kind of stuff because I don't know. It's just kind of, I don't know what the word is. Pretentious, maybe? A little, I don't know. It's just like this high on its own intelligence. Like, look how many syllables I can fit into this.
How many words I can spell? Good for you. I can.
Right.
spell any.
Like, that's the impressive part about it, is rapping 5-syllable words.
Yeah.
with each other. But Aesop Rock is a great artist. Like I'm not knocking the guy, but I guess I was into the sheer intellectualism of it and stuff, and listened to a lot of underground hip hop that was not very mainstream. Maybe just because it was also underground stuff too. I was like, no man, this isn't like Nelly or like 50 Cent. This is really, you have to think about this stuff, man. I don't know if I can support that same interest anymore. But I mean, I went to like a few underground hip hop like ciphers, like rap sessions in Halifax. I remember I went to one at a coffee shop on Gottingen Street, and it was all white people. It's like, Halifax has a good black population, but none of them came to this show. And it was, I was like, these are bigger nerds than me. Like, this is not cool. It was really an odd, just an all, and it was really like mathematical. I'm coming in so hyper blabbable, and it was, just all this super. That I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, Aesop Rock. This was my high school yearbook quote. Was quoting Big Bang. That's how far I took it. I was really
into it.
Really into it. I was like doing graffiti and stuff too. I was into hip hop. I thought I was part of a cool thing.
So I'm just curious, do you want to go over your pre-show ritual? I heard you have a pre-show ritual.
Pre-show ritual. Oh yeah, was that one of the interviews I did there?
It is. I love it. Do you think you remember it?
Do you know what that? I pulled that from a book that was turned into a movie. I don't know if you
was it Fear and Loathing?
That, but I can look that up. Yeah, it was Fear and Loathing. Yeah, the pre-show ritual. It was the bottle of mezcal, and I can pull it up here unless you want to read it.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Okay, let me find the big Hunter S. Thompson fan and loved Fear and Loathing.
Me too. Such a good show. I got that.
Yeah, before every show, I consume 2 bags of grass, 75 pellets of mescaline, 5 sheets of high-powered blotter acid, a salt shaker half full of cocaine, and a whole galaxy of multicolored uppers, downers, laughers, screamers. Also a quart of tequila, a quart of rum, a case of beer, a pint of raw ether, and 2 dozen amyls. Did I add something else to the list at the end? I forget.
And a light salad.
And a light salad. There you go. That's the punch.
Gotta get your greens in.
Yeah.
That would be a good day. That would be that would actually be amazing to go and see you right before you did all that and watch you progress through the show and watch you like transition to all these different, who knows what would happen.
I would do the 2 bags of grass and maybe a shot of tequila, but not anything else on the list. Never tried acid or.
It's a lot. All right, now we're going gangster.
Yo, Chopper.
Up a style.
Yeah. That's do we go back to junior high with this one? And I didn't really listen to this song, but I was a pretty nerdy kid, like I said, in junior high. Picture me with like glasses on and suspenders and one of those propeller caps, like like really, yeah. No, I didn't wear a propeller cap or suspenders, but just for the mental image. But there was a talent show in junior high, and this kid that I sat next to in math class, Chris Medley, a black kid, and Charisse Sear, another black classmate of mine, thought it would be funny to dress me up in like a do-rag and a big jersey and baggy jeans and stuff.
Wow.
And have me go and perform Choppa style. But I did it like I enunciated the words perfectly. I went chopper style, chop. It was like this exaggerated kind of like super white nerdy guy. And we won the talent show. It was incredible. I just went up and like lip synced or sang along. I don't know if we found like a karaoke track of it or whatever, but Charisse gave me your do-rag and Chris gave me his jersey and stuff, and I was all like, thugging out, and the whole school was in the gymnasium, and they were like, all right, up next, and then Choppa Style started playing, and I came out through the doors, and the whole school like lost it because it was like this big reveal of me dressed up that way, and I just was like, I think it was like the preeminent or like the forming of me as a comedian, because I wasn't like embarrassed. I was always kind of a quiet kid, but I felt like this was a performance. So I came out and just had this like, everyone had their hand out for like a high five, and I ran around the gym and high fived everyone and ran onto the stage and did the song and danced and stuff, and we won the talent show, first place.
That's awesome. What'd you win?
It was a huge. I don't remember. I don't think there was a prize. I just think it was just ego, just pride.
Pride and
ego. It felt
ego.
great. It was really cool. I felt so cool. Everyone was laughing and loving it, and I do think that was maybe I didn't think about it at the time that maybe I could be a comedian or something, but it felt really good. I remember that.
Yeah,
feeling
it felt good.
To get laughs.
Do you remember your first cassette CD album that you bought?
Yes, it was an Alien Ant Farm album. I don't know if you remember them.
No.
They covered Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson, and did like a kind of rock version. And so I listened to that single, and I knew them from that, and that was the first album I bought. I saw it at Walmart.
Wow.
But I think I listened to a lot of stuff online before I really...
Yeah. And what about concert? What was your first concert you've been to?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't say which was first. It was probably either Slayer or Nickelback. I saw them both in Halifax when I was in like junior high or high school. Nickelback, everyone made fun of, but they rocked.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I don't understand the controversy from
to
Nickelback.
this day. It was one of the best live shows I've ever seen. Like, they put on a great live show, and maybe it's because I was like a teenager, like 15 or whatever, however old I was when. But they had like sick pyrotechnics and stuff, and like they were actually good live. I don't know if they had backing tracks. I don't think so. I think they just played. Everything was good. I remember at one point, what was the singer? Kurt?
Geez, I can't even remember now. I'm drawing a blank here. I can't even remember.
Anyways, he goes, "You guys know what time it is?" And they're like, "What time?" And he goes, "Beer o'clock." And then they like a bunch of beers came out, and they started throwing beers into the crowd.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, wow, this is so
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
15-year-old.
I miss the old school concerts. This concerts now, it's like, I don't understand the concept. Like, I don't understand it. I just went to like the 90s concert. It was like Vanilla Ice, CNC Music Factory, Color Me Bad, which blew, I'll get to that. And then Sugar Hill. First of all, I don't remember a black guy in Color Me Bad, and the whole band, except for the lead singer, was black. So I was a little confused by that. And we were on stage with Vanilla Ice for his whole set. So we're like dancing.
Oh, wow.
So that whole theater was all chairs. So like every time I go to a show like that, it's all chairs. But I just took my kids to Chasing Summers on the weekend. How come we don't have chairs at raves? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. Well, I guess raves, you're all in ecstasy, so it's hard to sit down, right?
Yeah, I guess we're not going to get in a fight, but
Around.
just seems kind of...
You know what I don't get about concerts is phones, and I sound like a boomer when I say this, but like, put your goddamn phone away and just listen to the music. And
It's irritating.
maybe taking a picture is fine, but when I see people recording the whole show, it's like,
You're missing out.
I don't know, man. Like, is this for your YouTube page, or like, what are you doing? Like, I
It's
can't
irritating.
stand it. Really, it bothers me so much.
I had a girl sit in front of me and literally was recording, and I pushed her because she doesn't know that I'm an old lady.
Yeah.
And she's like 19, just stands in front of me, and I'm like 5'2". I'm like, hey. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, don't fucking stand in front of me and record. She's like, okay. And I'm like, no, seriously. Like, if you want to record, I know that I have an awesome spot. I get that. But don't fucking stand in front of me and record.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There's supposed to be these unwritten rules of concert attendance where people are,
Yeah.
you know,
It's so crazy.
too pushy and stuff. It's really,
Yeah.
I was at a show a few weeks ago, and I had to get close to the front just so that I didn't see a
Screen
sea of lights in front of me. Like, I just didn't want to.
I know. It's too bad. All right, next song. This one I have not heard before until the other day, and then today again I listened to your playlist. So is this song called Diva?
Costa Diva.
Costa Diva.
Yeah. Yeah, Maria Callas, I think, is a super interesting artist. I listened to her a bunch during COVID and the lockdowns and stuff. I got really, really in a very depressed, dark place during the lockdowns because I wasn't doing any comedy. Everything was just shut down completely. And I live alone, and I had a part-time day job, and that worked to switch to remotely completely. So I was just home alone for like weeks on end, and I would, pop out to see a friend once every week, and it became like once every couple weeks, and then it just like months went by of me just being super depressed all the time. And somehow I came across Maria Callas, and I started reading about her life. Super interesting woman. She's like America's first pop diva, like first famous singer that also like had an attitude and was like had this American diva thing. But she had a bunch of interesting like her whole career was super interesting. She lived in Italy for a while and then came to America. Her mother was kind of abusive and stuff and pushed her into singing, and it didn't like take off right away, but then she started doing bigger and bigger things. She dated what's the guy's name now? I should have refreshed myself here.
Okay.
He was like one of the richest men in the world.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What was JFK's Onassis? Jackie Onassis? Aristotle Onassis was the guy's name. She had an affair with Aristotle Onassis when he was with Jackie. Yeah. And then she ended up being with Aristotle or getting he had a bunch of control over her somehow. And at the end of her life, Maria Callas was living in France in this home, and she just didn't leave. She was just locked in all the time, and she started abusing pain pills and listening to her old records and looking out the window basically. And then she died after being abused and controlled by this man like she was by her mother as a child. Anyway, super interesting life. I didn't convey it in the best way because it's been a few
but that's
since I've read
crazy
up about her. But very interesting. I think she would be an amazing subject of like a biopic I don't know if there's anything in the works, but like super interesting and just such a sad end to her life. But I could somewhat relate to the feeling of being like locked inside, and I wasn't taking like opiates and stuff, but just smoking a bunch of weed and just feeling really depressed and like unable to practice my craft, my art, the thing that makes me want to live. So I can kind of listen to that and think back to that feeling a little bit, but I'm very glad that we're not in that situation anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I remember it was just like everything about it was so bizarre. Like the whole entire thing was just like, and we have some property outside of Calgary. So it was literally our 21st or 20th anniversary. And we're like going the next day. It was like March 16th or something. And I get this email from the Rimrock, from one of the restaurants in Banff, hey, we've canceled your reservation. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. And then the other restaurant canceled. And then I'm like, phone the Rimrock and find out what's like going on. So we phoned, they were like, oh yeah, you can come, but nothing's going to be open and you're just kind of being in your room. I'm like, well, we're not paying $500 a night to fucking sit in our room. Like, that's ridiculous. We're not going to go there. So we phoned the kids and we said, hey, if it's like zombie apocalypse by morning, just head to the property. We're all going to go to the property. Right. And we like put water there. Like, we had no idea what was really, like, I wasn't crazy or anything like that, but we were just like, how crazy it was starting to get like around us.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't want my kids to be, and they're older, but I don't want them to be in this environment. I want this, if we're going to be locked down, I want us all together, for one. I don't give a fuck what the government says. We're all going to be together. I don't care.
Yeah.
And my daughter's on her own. It's fine for my son because he's married, but you know, I don't want my daughter to be alone going through this on her own.
No.
That's awful, right?
Yeah,
And
we
just-
just
it
didn't
was-
know what direction it's going to, so that's what.
Yeah, and you didn't know what to
Find a
believe.
property to go to. No, I mean,
And what was real, what wasn't real, and it was just, and every day the rules are changing, and this is changing, and so insane. Like,
what I find weird now is like we don't want to look back at it. We just want to like move forward,
know.
not question anything that happened. But like,
but we need to.
hindsight is 2020. We should look back, and now they're saying that it probably came from a lab. It wasn't. It's like, okay, well, who the fuck? What the? I don't know. Again, it's when you start. People are like, let's just move on.
Yeah, let's just move
I don't
on.
know if that's the Roman.
It's because
Catholic
I think
all of us.
people were going off the rails, and they don't want to remember all
Yeah.
the crazy shit. Like, walk this
Oh my
in the
God.
supermarket. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is,
Yeah.
this is so
And I live in Toronto too, and it was just, I think it was so prolonged here for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were,
And
well,
I couldn't like leave. Nova Scotia was locked down. If I went home for a visit, I would have had to isolate for 2 weeks. And it's
Yeah.
like, I can't really do that. So I just stayed here and kept working, and
yeah, it's crazy.
it was not. I feel like I'm permanently changed by that whole experience. Really.
I feel a lot of people are, and I feel the ones that are really suffering right now, like a lot, like we had our kids really young. And what I'm seeing now is all the parents that have kids 15 and younger. They're a mess. They're absolutely a mess.
That whole
Like
generation were raised on
anxiety and like
the
it's like,
computer
what's
and stuff too.
Yeah.
We're all so connected to the internet. I guess we're lucky because we're of this generation where we have the internet now, but we grew up with just
playing
riding your bicycle
outside.
around the neighborhood. Yeah, like just
Yeah.
call your friend on the landline and be like,
Yeah.
I'll be there in 30 minutes, and then you.
And if
bicycle
not,
over
I'm
there.
just driving to your house because we're gonna run into each other because you're
Yeah.
coming to. It's just like we just telepathic. We just knew that's
I
what.
remember my mom would be like, "Let's go and just knock on their door," and we'd just get in the car and drive to their house and knock on. They'd be like, "Are you home? Like, let's."
Yeah.
You know, let's
And
hang
now it's like, oh God forbid
it's-
we surprise
Why
a
the
friend.
fuck would you knock on my door? Text me first, psycho. It's like such a different.
Yeah.
So we're lucky that we've had both, and we could be kind of normal. Have one foot in the past, and then
That's right. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, next song.
Yesterday you were on my back.
Start today.
start today. Gorilla Biscuits. This, I guess, it's a song I listened to a ton, like 3-4 years ago. Before COVID, I got into a health kick. I was like exercising a bunch, didn't eat carbs. I like went down to like 135 pounds. I was just like
Whoa.
super tiny and just had no muscle but had abs, and I felt like super ripped and stuff, you know. Since then, I've blown back up to like 200 now, so I'm like fully the other end, eating ice cream every night. But this was when I was like, this was like motivational hardcore punk music. Start today. It's like my room's a mess and I can't get dressed. Gotta give you up by 8 o'clock. And it's just this motivational thing. Like, you can do it, man. Like, there's a bunch of that are kind of motivational
Workout music.
that is great. If you're looking to work out, Gorilla Biscuits, the whole album, Start Today is great. Hate Breed, which doesn't sound like a super motivational band, but
But it is.
it's like hardcore. Like in your face, like, you can do it. Like,
My son listens to all that when he works out as well. So
No, it's good stuff. It's I should get back into working out a little bit. I got to listen to more Gorilla Biscuits.
So Dave, where can we, like, what's coming up for you over the next 6 months? Are you going to be traveling again? You have like some dates set up. Where can we stalk you? Where can we follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Dave R. Burke. Every other platform as well. But Instagram, I guess I'll be posting about stuff. I will be coming out west, doing Calgary, Edmonton. Try to hit up Vancouver again too before the end of the year. So keep your eyes out for that. You can see me on yuckyucks.com as well. I think I have a profile there, so you'll see all the shows I'm doing with Yuck Yucks. This weekend, I don't know when this episode will come out, but I am going to be recording an album, so keep your eyes out for my upcoming album. Sexual Cactus is like 5 or 6 years old now, so I got to update that. And it's cool this weekend too. I'm headlining the Toronto Yuck Yucks at 7:30, and then Tom Green is doing shows at 10:30, so I'm opening for him as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be should be a cool weekend. Hopefully I get a good recording out of it, get that next album.
That's really cool. All right, we're on your last song. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line, engines pumping and thumping in time. The green light flashes, the flags go up, churning and burning, they yearn for the cup. They deftly maneuver.
These guys remind me of Bloodhound Gang a lot. Cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I guess they have a similar vibe. I love Cake. Great band. Again, some cool bass songs. I remember learning to play a few Cake songs on bass when I was doing that when I was younger. But this one is the karaoke. I guess I kind of spoiled it already, but this was the first time that I got forced to do karaoke. One of 2 times, my first performance. I mean, the guy just speaks the lyrics the whole time, pretty much. So it was like my silent protest to being dragged up to do karaoke. But I remember doing that at Beerley's in Halifax, and they have a comedy show every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then it's followed by karaoke afterwards. So,
oh, cool.
It's funny, sometimes the karaoke is more popular than the comedy, and when you're closing out that show, you'll see the room start to fill up with karaoke people, and it kind of gets louder and louder, and sometimes the start of the comedy show is the best. But many fun memories. They've been doing that show for like over 15 years, I think, and every time I'm in Halifax, I go back to Beerley's on Wednesday and do the comedy and then stay for the karaoke. There are some professional karaoke singers, of which I am not one. But I don't know if you've ever gone to a karaoke place and you see the regulars that come.
Yeah, it's aggressive. It's like...
And they have their song, and then they go up and nail it. And every other regular is like, okay, there she goes playing Black Velvet again. We've seen that. But then the newbies are like, holy shit, like she can actually nail this one song. And yeah.
I love karaoke. It's fun to, like, not all the time, but it is fun to go with a bunch of friends. And you're like, fuck it, I'm going to go up there and do like a virgin or like whatever. Let's just have some fun on there. Instead of like the regulars that go on there. And you're right, they do Black Velvet. And, you know, they try to do Whitney or
That's a good one.
Mariah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just really belting it out.
Well, thank you so much, Dave, for joining me today on Music Junkies. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. But before I let you go, I would love some words of wisdom that you'll leave to our guests.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, Annette, so much for having me on. Words of wisdom, I don't know, everybody. Keep on trucking. It's tough out there. We're all broke right now and barely keeping it together. But we can do it. I think things will get better and more fun. Just listen to music. Listen to Maria Callas if you're really in a deep hole, or Slayer if you just got punched in the face, or Quincy Jones if you feel like making love. Whatever your feeling is, however you just get some tunes going, and listen to the Music Junkies podcast too.
I love it. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Like, follow, subscribe. I will give you all of Dave's socials for you can like, follow, and subscribe and stalk him as well. And yeah, awesome. Peace. Oh my God, stop fucking whining.